So, you want to come out of the broom closet, huh? Look, okay, so I've been doing readings and I really wanted to take a break with you guys. So I'm making my other witchy tea talk. I may post this one first because I feel like this is really important out the gate. I'm just gonna sit here and kind of tell you my story and kind of like the little tidbits of advice I have for you guys, whether you're minors or you're my age, 27. Getting older, fam, and I actually enjoy it. The older you get, the more lessons you learn, and the more you're just like, embrace it. It's that crone. Actually, I'm more in mother. I don't know. I'm like a switch between maiden and mother. I feel like I'm on my way to crone, which we'll learn in another lesson. If you haven't seen my first witchy video, it's just kind of talking about witchcraft a little bit. Now, coming out of the broom closet is, for some people, it's just not hard. Okay, and that's because they may not live in a community like some of us, you know, where it's you know, no one gives a damn. You know what I mean? No one gives a shit. But there are a lot, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're either from a very religious home or you live in a community where it's very Christian, like Abrahamic, religion based. But you know what? Like, I get it. Even if you're not, sometimes it's rough regardless of where you're from. Now, coming out of the broom closet for me took about a year to even, and for my own personal reasons, not just because of religious reasons, which I will go into that, but just because it just took me a while to fully embrace like the name. It was very empowering, a very beautiful moment. I cried. But coming out of the broom closet, you know, a lot of people laugh at that. It is kind of funny because it's, I mean, we were burned for this shit. We were burned if we claimed to be a witch or were accused of being a witch. I think that those past life, some of us, I love this saying where, you know, there's one that says we are the granddaughters of the witches you couldn't burn. And then there's one where it's like, we are the witches that you burned and we're back and we remember. So we could be either or. Now, when you're coming out of the broom closet, I'm going to start where if you are a minor and you live in a house, look, like I fully believe in like, you know, respecting your parents and stuff. But at the same time, I believe a part of good parenting, I'm not like a perfect parent or anything, is allowing your children to find their own path unless it's destructive, which they may view witchcraft as destructive. Now, what is witchcraft? It has to, you know, you work with the elements, you work with divination, you work with herbs, plants, all that stuff. Like, it's, choose your anesthetic, or your aesthetic. I am so done. Okay, guys, forgive me. No, like, choose what you like. I can go over the different kinds of witches in another video. But you don't have to slap a label on yourself. Your craft is it will grow as you grow. And if you're young and it's kind of like not accepted in your home, there are ways to practice and ways to kind of give yourself that freedom to explore. You know, sure, it has to be in secret, but this is a very sacred path. Make sure you're truly connected to it and not just because your parents don't allow it. It's very beautiful. And I feel like it should come from a genuine place of this is who I, like, this is what I connect with, not out of rebellion. If you're older like I am, and it's just hard to come out of it because of like people around you, societal norms. I literally had somebody, their significant other was, I don't know if she's even like a witch, but I'm an out of the closet, broom closet witch. And I just teach self-help a lot. You know, I just encourage people and I just love doing that. But they even said to me, they were like, as long as you're not like burning and eating, like teaching her to burn and eat my children, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, look. So as you can see, there's a lot of misconceptions, even if someone's not religious, but live in a religious area or like Hollywood. And I straightened them out right then. I'm like, that's Hollywood, fam. Like, that's not real. More, believe it or not, like, I know they don't like to face this about it, but more Christians have probably sacrificed their children than we have. Just saying. They have a whole story on it, and it's supposed to be like beautiful because you're willing to sacrifice your kids for insecure God. Anyway, sorry, I just had to say it. I've always been conflicted about the story, even when I was a Christian, which leads me into my story. I was a very devout Christian for 10, almost 11 years, and was in the ministry. I helped with worship, and I also did children's ministry, and I loved it. I really did. Very grateful for that time in my life. I made a whole part 1 video because I couldn't fit it all in one, all the details of the manipulation and stuff like that into the video. So I did make a video on that. I was a Christian. But I've always been a witch. Even when I was a child, I always did things subconsciously that was witchcraft, including creating a circle of stones and standing in the middle and chanting and dancing and laughing. And I mean, you'd probably think you're like, if you're a Christian parent, you probably thought your kid was a psycho. I mean, like, it was just these little things. Like, you don't think to mention it to your parents because you don't think it's bad, because it's just what you do. But since I was a child, I've always like done some sort of craft. Now, I do want to say also that witchcraft and Wicca are not the same. A lot of Wiccans practice witchcraft, but they don't have to. Some of them don't. There's a lot of witches who are not Wiccan. The witchcraft is literally a craft. Wicca is a religion that has to do with that it's a form of paganism. Whereas a witch probably doesn't have a specific god or goddess. I know I don't, but I do work with the elements, and what I'm wearing right now is kind of like a symbol of a woman, a goddess, working with the elements. So, and I do like refer to like my fellow peeps as, you know, you're such a goddess. So it's just one of those things. But it's not the same. So I just kind of want to get that out the gate. I mean, you can learn a lot from Wicca. So if you read books on Wicca and stuff like that, and you find that it is a part of your path, great. If it's not, you can still learn a lot from it. And that brings me to like my first point is, I'm just going to mark it out here, is learn as much as you can. Do your research. Figure out what works out for you. Kind of just recognize your intentions, because a lot of your work is going to be based on intentions. Do your research. If you truly thirst for this knowledge, that's not going to be very, very hard. You can look at videos like you are now. You can read books. Books are a great source. Practice, but be, it's, don't get me wrong. There are certain things, if you look, I'm not against texting or anything like that. All I'm saying is that before you do that shit, research your shit. Okay? Same with love spells. I personally do not, unless you're just like trying to, it's not towards a specific person and you're just kind of opening your heart. It's kind of like the same as manifesting love into the universe. It's literally the same thing, just with candles and shit. Like, you're manifesting love into your life. You're not necessarily forcing someone to love you. If you ever think of doing that, you can think again. It usually, from what I've heard, doesn't work out the best. So think about it. But to be a witch is not these love spells. A lot of people ask you about love spells and shit and curses. Fam, like, craft is in everything you do. I love this meme that said, at the beginning of your craft, you're lighting candles, you're doing this ritual. And by the way, I do still love doing those things. I just don't do it as often anymore because I do witchcraft in everything I do. My craft is in literally everything I do. I don't feel like I have to have all these candles lit and shit like that all the time. You go from that to writing a sigil on a toaster strudel and eating it on the way out. So, I mean, your craft is literally your craft. It's what you make of it. So, coming out of the broom closet, you need to first, if you feel like you have to be in the broom closet, know your shit. You don't have to explain yourself to anybody. I'm not going to say know your shit so that if people ask questions, who gives a fuck? If you don't want to explain yourself, you can simply say, I'm figuring it out. I just know this is what I want to do. Here's the thing. I understand if you're a minor. I understand. That's a lot more understandable. If you're an adult and you live in a churchy area like I do, where there's a church on every corner, every corner, there's a church, Christian church. Like, I get it. It's not the easiest thing to come out with. Ironically enough, the town I live in, we have literally the best witch store in 5 states in this tiny town that I live in. So I feel like the stars were just aligned, like in this walk for me. I'm involved with them as well. Beautiful people. Love it. I can get all my supplies there. It's just fabulous. So, but yeah, like, coming out of the broom closet is not easy in a lot of ways, and mainly, and I'm just going to lay it out, I'm just going to say it like it is, a lot of times it's hard because we are worried what people think. We haven't yet stepped into our personal power. If you're old enough to just kind of come out with it. And you don't have to. You know what I mean? And a lot of people have opinions about, like, ooh, you should keep it secret because you're a witch and that's part of the magic. And it's like, bitch, we've been shut up for years. You want to keep secret about it? That's fine. Like, you know, and I'm not saying you got to knock on people's doors, like, announce, like, you're a witch. Like, you know, like you have some kind of gospel in your hand. That's not what I'm saying. Just being honest and living authentically in it. So there's that. But, you know, everyone has their own opinion about the craft. And you got to choose which ones work for you and which ones do not. You have to differentiate between the two. It's your path, ultimately. And you got to figure that out. So to come out of the broom closet is honestly just to live your most authentic life. And it's something that I encourage on this channel 24/7. Live authentically. Figure out what works for you. I personally, you know, don't mess with Ouija boards. I've had negative experiences with them in the past, so I don't mess with Ouija boards. Some people do, and it works for them. Fine, awesome, dandy, go for it. I'm not involved. You see what I mean? So it's just what you make of it. Do you, I'm an eclectic witch. I dip into a lot of things. I'm a celestial witch, but I'm also a green witch. I'm a hedge witch. It's just like, all these things, you can literally create your own little world in your craft. And you raise the vibration of the planet through your authenticity. So I guess with this coming out of the broom closet thing, my biggest question is, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to live authentically if you can? What is the worst that could happen? Because here's the thing, I get it. I know that if I was to ask myself this in the past, I'd be like, my friends wouldn't approve, my church wouldn't approve, I'm going to be made fun of, and all this stuff. Sorry, I got an itch on my arm right there. I just can't. Anyway, you know, there's all these things that come into play, but ultimately, if people leave you or people cast you out, or just because you practice a craft. Now, I get it. Like, some people think it's all sacrifice, and bitch, it's like, you guys, I'm just going to tell you something that I told somebody who thought I was like sacrificing chickens. They were a Christian. You know, you're the devil. You're going to hear that a lot. You got to have thick skin if you're in these areas. And, you know, and I'm just sitting there, I was like, well, at least I don't worship the sacrifices I make. Ooh. And I understand there are Christian witches because Jesus was amazing and still is amazing to this day. And I love Jesus. But at the same time, like, Christians have made it something that it's not meant to be. Not all Christians, but a lot of them. And I get how that could be in conflict. You got to have thick skin. You don't always have to have a comeback, and you don't have to care. But understand that even people who aren't Christian, will probably kind of make fun of you, look down for you, and if they do, just block that shit out. You're gonna have to have some thick skin, or you might be surprised and realize how you don't have to have some thick skin. People may not like the label you put on yourself. Fuck them. If this is what you resonate with, because I'm not into labels, I don't like them, and this is what I resonated with. So that's the negative side that you could expect, I guess. It's not that bad, honestly. Once you step into your authenticity, into your, like, living your most authentic life, you don't care anymore. You just don't. And it's just not relevant anymore. The positive side is that how much you learn and how magical every day is. How you find magic in the smallest of things. How you appreciate everything on such a deeper level, especially in nature. Spiritually, the cosmos, I think the craft is one of the most beautiful paths that I've ever had the privilege to take, because it's not all what people consider fantasy. It's appreciation for all the little things, whether it be completely out there to some people like the Fae and like candle magic or whatever, to just the simplest things like sitting by the ocean and breathing in the salty sea air, or hiking and just kind of sitting, like reading a book in front of a mountain, and then just acknowledging that you are here right now in nature and you are one with it, and you work with these elements because you are one with all these elements. That is the beauty of it. Everything in between. And to come out of the broom closet is totally worth it, in my opinion. So if you want to come out of the broom closet, I have no solid foundation to how you can go about that. The only thing I can encourage you to do is be authentically you in this world, because we need you to be you in this world. And you don't rush it. Take your time. Be patient. Like I said, it took me a year. But once I was there, I was there. And I have no regrets. I have none. Be patient with yourself. Love yourself. I'm going to actually pull from this deck I feel kind of led to for my witchy friends coming out of the closet. Spirit, do you have any extra advice that I could give? I am a firm believer in being authentically you. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. You are the creator of this reality. Birthing a new age, bring new creations, dreams, a new world into being. What did I say? It's this world that you're creating for yourself. Beautiful, magical, vibrant. And Starseed, what lights you up? Is it your craft? Is the craft what lights you up? Does it get you excited? Does it just make sense to you? It doesn't have to make sense to everybody else. The crumbling, what are you clinging to? Oof. We got real. So if you're clinging to an expectation, look how beautiful it is on the other side of that gate. It's wide open. So you guys, it's a beautiful, magical journey. And I feel like being you and being authentic how can you regret that? You know what I mean? The only way you're going to regret it is if you truly care what everyone else thinks and you live for everyone else in the most unhealthy way possible. There's a difference between serving others and seeking validation from others. If you live your whole life that way, no, don't do that. It doesn't pay off. Live authentically, be you. And the more you love yourself and accept who you are, the easier it is to come out of the broom closet, and the harder it is to keep quiet about who you are. And so I love you guys. I hope this helped in this first witchy talk. Coming out of the broom closet. My goodness, fam. I love you. Next one, I'm going to be talking about some actual witchy stuff. I feel like that I am going to post this before the ones I've created. I made ones on runes, tarot, like any kind of divination. I made one on crystals and stuff like that. So I do have those coming. But I really, you know what? I am going to post this because I feel like this is a big one. It's kind of like just leading up into those things. So I love you guys so much. If you like this, like, subscribe. I will be creating more content. I do tarot readings. Follow me on Instagram, *_braid. The link is down below. And I post all kinds of stuff, including witchy stuff. Get a hold of me there. Let's connect. And I love you guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.